Shukran za dhati wapenzi watazamaji, na karibuni katika the NURU Morning Show katika runinga yako ya Mizpah TV, ambapo tutazidi kukujuza mambo ambayo yanaendelea katika taifa letu na pia katika dunia. Asubuhi ya leo nina furaha na ninatumai ya kwamba umeamka ukiwa mzima. It is a very good morning because you know, hata kuona siku njema ni jambo la kumshukuru Mungu. Ni ya kwamba si kawaida ukiona siku ambayo umeamka vizuri, you have that reason to tell God thank you. And it is a very good morning in this morning ambayo tunaenda kuangazia mambo katika magazeti yetu. Tutaangalia mambo ambayo yametukia katika taifa letu, na katika studio zetu siku ya leo niko na pia Mr. Kimotho ambaye atazidi kutusaidia katika uchambuzi wa magazeti. Jina langu ni Njoroge Eric Muchai, na good morning Mr. Kimotho.
Good morning too.
Yes.
Kwanza ni kushukuru watazamaji kwa sababu ya vile mko pamoja na sisi, na pia kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa sababu ya kuona siku ya leo na kuwakaribisha kwenye show ili tuweze kuangalia ni yapi ambayo tuko nayo siku ya leo.
Shukran. And before we dive into our conversation today, we are going to have the verse of the day. This is the verse that is going to guide us today, and the verse of the day today we are going to have from the book of Romans chapter 14 verse 12. And the Bible says, "So then each of us will give an account of himself to God." It is in Romans chapter 14 verse 12. So then each of us will give an account of himself to God. And when you just read this verse, ni verse ambayo inasema ya kwamba sisi sote tutatoa hesabu mbele za Mungu. You know, many of the times huwa tunafanya mambo na and then we just like tunafanya mambo, lakini do we have accountability in things that we do? Ni kwa sababu, you know, when you do something you just need to be accountable. And many of us huwa tunaogopa wanadamu. Wakati mwingi huwa tunaogopa wanadamu watasema nini, tunaogopa ya kwamba ni nani ananiona, ni nani hanioni. But the Bible says, so each of us will give an account of himself to God. Each and everything, our actions, everything that we are doing in our lives, we are going to give an account. Every word that you say each and every day, you're going to give an account. Because many of us huwa tuko na ile taswira ya kusema ya kwamba kama mtu fulani anioni, sina wasiwasi. Lakini the Bible inasema ya kwamba we shall give an account. So when you're doing anything that you're doing in your life, do it as if you're doing it to God, because you will have to give an account for that, everything that you're doing. Ni kwa sababu I was just asking myself this morning, if today tukifika binguni tuambia kwamba our videos zikuwe played and everyone watch, waweze kutazama ile video, will you be able to stand and uangalie ile video na watu? It is because many of us tumeogopa wanadamu, ya kwamba wanadamu wakiona ninafanya jambo fulani, they will say that I'm bad. But the question today is, are you accountable to God or are you accountable to people? Because many of us tumejifunga ya kwamba we are so much into kuogopa wanadamu ilhali hatumuogopi Mungu. So each and everything that you are doing, as the verse states in Romans chapter 14 verse 12, so then each of us will give an account of himself to God. So may we give a good account for ourselves. Ya kwamba kila asubuhi hata unapoamka jiulize, siku ya leo ninaenda kufanya nini? Hata kama unaenda kazi, may you give an account of each and everything yenye utafanya leo, ya kwamba may you be righteous in the eyes of God. And brother Kimotho, Mr. Kimotho, I don't know verse hii inakuzungumzia aje asubuhi ya leo?
It's just an option for one to decide which action do you want it to be recorded, because we are that is unajua kulingana na vile ambavyo tunaambiwa is that there is a record, and that record one day that is kuja funguliwa. The other thing is that sometimes we do things, you know, behind bars, we do things hiding ourselves, but at the end of the day, everything you do is being recorded. So it is up to you to choose the good one, the bad ones, because at the end of the day, there is a record that is there on every action that you do.
Yes. Na pia kipindi hiki kimeletwa kwa hisani ya Mizpah Prayer Center. It is a great place for prayer, fasting and spiritual renewal. Many of us ninajua mnajua Mizpah Prayer Center, and this is the place to be. Mizpah Prayer Center tumeletwa kwa hisani ya Mizpah Prayer Center. It is a place of prayer ambapo unaweza kukuja, you have your prayer sessions, fasting, you come, you have that moment to be in the presence of God. Kuna a very serene environment in that place, a place that you can come, you have your peace. Ni mahali ambapo unaweza kuja ujiachilie mbele za Bwana, and it is a very good place. Ni kwa sababu many of the people ambao wamekuja hapa, they have a testimony that this place is a very good place. And also Mizpah Prayer Center invites you to the Keepers of Flame Prayer Summit on 25th to 27th of February 2026. This is an you don't need to miss this, because this event ambayo itakuwa Mizpah Prayer Center Keepers of Flame Prayer Summit, you just need to attend this meeting, because we in this year ya kwamba we are fanning the flame of revival. And when utakuja katika mkutano huu, I just know that you will be able to see the grace of God abounding in your life. Na today in the morning I have the Daily Nation.
I also have the Standard newspaper.
Yeah, ninafikiria kwamba tutaanza na the Standard. Mr. Kimotho, you tell us what the Standard inatuambia asubuhi ya leo.
Okay, thank you so much. So today in the newspaper, just as this year, mwaka wa politics, and I can see there are very interesting things each and every day in the newspapers. Each and every day tunaona kuna different headlines, tunaona kuna mambo ambayo yako hapa, and ODM imekuwa that is on the headlines each and every time. Na this time round tumeona that is kwamba NEC waliweza kupatana. NEC is a National Executive Committee. It is a national organ of the party, and each and every party iko na the NEC yake, kwa sababu ya masuala ambayo huwa yana decide pale nationally. Now the ODM tumekuwa tukiona wamekuwa na msukosuko each and every kwa masuala ambayo tumekuwa tukisoma kwa gazeti, hatukosi story hata moja that is ya ODM. Na tuliona that is ODM imekuwa na mshikeshike, and that is from the time of the demise of the former prime minister. And tumekuwa tukiona that is kumekuwa na two different rival groups. There is a group that still supports the broad-based government, and also there is also now the other group that are still is not actually now to that plan. Na tumekuwa tukiona that is hadi wakati wamekuwa wakipanga that is different meetings, like one day there is kulikuwa na different meetings pale Kisii. Tuliona that is kulikuwa na different meeting yenye ilikuwa imeongozwa na huyu, ingine ilikuwa imeongozwa na huyu, na pia tukaona also on the same day kulikuwa na another different meeting that is pale Nairobi. So tumekuwa tukiona pia wakati pia ulikuwa na that is the Nyota program ambayo ilikuwa pale Kisumu. Tuliona kuna some of the members ambao walienda waka accompany the president pale, na kuna other members pia walikuwa na upande tofauti. So yesterday the NEC that is organ of ODM walikutana, and now waka decide that is kuweza that is kumtoa that is the Secretary General ambaye anaitwa ni Edwin Sifuna. So unable to take criticism, ODM kicks out Sifuna as a spokesperson. So politically it's going to bring a lot of changes that is to the party of ODM, because you remember that is during that is Raila's time hatuko tunaona mambo kama haya yakifanyika, and especially that is Sifuna amekuwa that is the Secretary General for ODM for 8 years. So meaning is that his ideology, his democratic rights of trying to air out his opinion has always been protected when the former prime minister was alive. And not only to him, also to other members ambao tumekuwa tukiona pale kama Babu Wino, that is James Orengo, tumekuwa pia tukiona that is na among the other members pia the CS for Treasury that is John Bandi, na that is na Junet Mohammed, na wale wengine tumekuwa tukiona that is na zile criticism wamekuwa wakonazo, but they have always hatujaona wakiwa kicked out kama vile ambavyo tumeona saa hizi. So it shows you that there are a lot of changes that are going to happen. So but I can see kwa gazeti la Standard page that is from the front page. Then pia tukikuja page 4 and page 5, it is now speaking now of the same. So the party executive committee said that it had enough of his opposition from within. So he was replaced by Busia women representative on an interim basis as a secretary general. So kutakuwa na NDC ambayo that is wataweza kuifanya, that is niliona that is wametoa that is a date this month, unless kutakuwa na any other changes ambao watafanya pale, so that now the members can go now and confirm some of these issues, and also the members can go now and confirm the other issues ambazo bado zimengojewa pale. So ODM secretary general, that is Edwin Sifuna, one of boldest voices in the party, who questions that is a opaque move by the section of the party leadership to begin talks with the President William Ruto, has been sacrificed by the faction allied to the party leader Oburu Odinga, who chaired the National Executive Committee yesterday and resolved to do that is to replace him with another person ambayo sasa ni Busia women representative ambayo, but it is on an interim basis. So tumekuwa tukiona that is Edwin Sifuna amekuwa ki-air out the issues, and I remember that is him appearing on the local television. Amekuwa specify on the 10-point agenda that the government waliweza kusign, that is between now the ODM and the UDA, na amekuwa akisema the 10-point agenda hazijakuwa implemented. So nimekuwa tukiona that is kuna mambo tofauti ambayo yeye mwenyewe amekuwa na mtazamo wake, and there is also another section, and remember hajaanza sahi. So alianza hadi even before that is wakati the former prime minister alikuwa high. So he started airing his opinion, and I remember that is one day the former prime minister alisema ya kwamba ukiona Sifuna akiongea, that just know that is the voice of the party. So ukiangalia kulikuwa na ile that is the sanction ambayo ilikuwa pale of trying now to air out their views, and ODM it is one of that is the largest, the biggest party, the strongest party ambayo imekuwa in our nation for over 20 years. Tumekuwa tukiona wakifanya their own meetings ambazo zimekuwa pale, wamekuwa na their own movement ambayo imekuwa iko pale. So it means that these changes ambazo zimekuja saizi, we are going to see them this affect even the region itself, because kama saizi tumeona ya kwamba kuna watu wameanza kuwa na mtazamo tofauti. Sasa kama hapa that is Kennedy Amiani ambayo is an ODM supporter, anasema we are happy as the Mulembe nation that finally the battle lines have been drawn. Now as a region we active a grand plan to fully abandon ODM. So ukiangalia sasa pia despite now that is the former secretary general, that is Edwin Sifuna, pia tumeona pia imeanza kuleta now the issue now to the nation, that is to the region where he comes from, na pia sasa watu hiyo region na other supporters pia wameanza kuwa na mtazamo wao tofauti ambao wamekuwa wako nao. So tumekuwa tukiona kumekuwa na so many other tours ambazo zimekuwa ziko pale, but it is something ambayo we are yet to see now the reaction, because we have not yet seen his reaction. We have not yet seen him now being able also to speak out upon the changes ambazo ziliweza kufanyika pale. But I know is that even now the politics of the region now zita change. The politics now over the ODM party now zita change, na pia unajua bado kutakuwa na zile cracks ambazo zitakuwa ziko pale, because kuna one side ambao wana support this na pia the other side ambao pia wana support this action. So nikiangalia pia kwa gazeti pia la Standard page 5 pia naona, nikiangalia hapa naona kuna picha ambayo pia inaonyesha that is the ODM, that is a party leader Oburu Odinga, pia wakiona NEC members ambao walikupatana nao pale, na pia ndio leza that is a kuresolve. Na anasema cracks in ODM deepened yesterday as the function led by the party leader that is Oburu Odinga announced the removal of his controversial Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. So ukiangalia pia nao pia najua pia pale kutakuwa na msukumo ambao utakuwa uko pale, na ninajua ya kwamba that is as time goes by tutaweza kujua ni yapi ambayo yatakuwa yakiendelea kwenye chama hicho. Yeah.
Yes. In the Daily Nation page 12 we are having a very interesting story here about corruption, and this is something ambayo imekuwa ni donda sugu katika taifa letu, and according to Transparency International they walitoa ripoti ambayo ilizidi kuangazia how corruption has been escalating in our country, and as stated in the Daily Nation, Kenya battle, new findings show the country is caught in cycles of reforms without tangible results. According to Transparency International, kuna mambo mengi ambayo waliweza kuangazia, na wakasema ya kwamba even as Kenya inataka yani kufika Singapore, because we have countries ambazo their index ya corruption iko very low, and many of the countries ambazo zimeangaziwa katika gazeti hili, we see countries like Denmark and Singapore, the level of corruption is very low. And according to Transparency International, there are things ambayo walisema katika taifa la Kenya ya kwamba we are making a lot of reforms, as stated in the Daily Nation. We are making a lot of reforms, and many of the plans that we make, we have a lot of plans, but now implementation of those plans to curb corruption has been faced with a lot of challenges. And compiled the findings from the 2025 Corruption Perception Index, CPI, revealed the country caught in cycle of reforms without tangible results, where institutions tasked with enforcing accountability remain weak and public confidence continues to erode. Because this is something that is trending in our nation. Tumeona ya kwamba some of the organs ambazo zinafaa implement kuangalia they curb corruption, imekuwa that they are very weakened because of politically, because as stated in the Daily Nation, kuna mambo mengi ambayo the Transparency International iliangazia, ikasema ya kwamba viongozi wengi they have been compromised in the leadership of various organs ambazo zinafaa zisimamie kuangalia mambo ya corruption. And in the 2025 edition, Kenya scored 30 out of 100, down from 32 in 2024. You can imagine we just tunaendelea tu kushuka, and this is something that is so alarming, because such stagnation signals structural problems rather than isolated scandals, suggesting that suggesting reforms have not fundamentally changed. And we've seen that according to Transparency International, kuna various countries ambazo zilikuwa graded, and we see that even in Africa there are nations like Rwanda and Tanzania ambazo their level of corruption, in fact Kenya imezidi kukua very corrupt more than other countries. And this is something that is so alarming, because Kenya latest score indicates that corruption is no longer a series of isolated incidents. It has evolved into sophisticated, resilient system, and legal safeguards exist, including constitutional leadership and integrity provisions intended to bar individuals implicated in wrongdoing from public office. And this, as stated in the Daily Nation, the Transparency International, they also questioned about justice in our courts, ya kwamba wale watu ambao wamepelekwa kule with corruption cases, many of them are exempted from the due justice process, kwa sababu you see many of the people that are caught, according to Transparency International, they are high profile people ambao wako katika serikali, and they are the people that are leading even the bigger organs that are governing in the nation. And so this is something ambayo Transparency International, they have done research, a lot of research, and as stated in the Daily Nation, we see that their country globally, Denmark leads with 89 points, and you can see that these are the countries ambao tunataka tuwafikia. Hata even Singapore, you see number 2 is Finland. We have Singapore, the countries ambazo corruption iko very low. And then we have Francois Valerian, chair of Transparency International, called for national multilateral cooperation to protect the public interest, tackle shared challenges like corruption. We need to protect the rules-based globally order grounded in transparency, accountability to citizens, and respect the human rights. And this is something as a nation we really need to look at, because recently we've seen stated even in the Daily Nation, tumeona kwamba when the leaders wanatakikana they be accountable for the money ambazo, even the funds ambazo zimetolewa in different projects, wanasema ya kwamba they are being harassed. And this is something ambayo inafanya wengi wao they wanaficha mambo ambayo yanaendelea even in our counties and even in our country. And this is something that is very alarming. And when you get your newspaper, you'll be able to get a lot of content ambayo imeandikwa hapa concerning corruption and some of the state organs ambazo zimekuwa weakened in matters of curbing corruption. And this is something that as a nation we really need to relook on, because even if tunataka tufike Singapore with the rate of corruption ambayo inaendelea at this moment, it is something that is so alarming, because I started in the Daily Nation. There are various institutions ambazo zimeandikwa hapa, and the research ambayo imetolewa hapa, it is very 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 alarming, and this is something that we really need to work on as a nation. Yeah,
corruption is a very big name that has been there.
Yes.
Maybe it's need now to be defined clearly what is corruption, because it's kind of we have lived with it, we have it's still within us, and it is something that you know, ambayo imeshinda even the government of the day. It is a mere name that has always been there, it has been talked about, but the actions being taken against that bigger name is what we have seen it as a that is action. So concerning the issue of corruption, the Standard, that is the newspaper today, page 8 of Standard, inaelezea mambo now over the budget, because the issue of corruption, the bigger part of it, the major part of it, coincide with the spending of different departments, allocation of their money. Now on page 8, there is a release now of what we should expect in the budget this year. There is also a release of the comment from IMF and also from other experts that we are going to see. So Ruto's 4.73 trillion budget hits harsh reality as income lags and debt that is a source. IMF, that is a review, looms as government struggles to meet revenue target. So the National Treasury has unveiled a record of 4.73 trillion budget proposal for the year 2026-2027 fiscal year. But the ambitious spending plan is colliding with the stubborn that is a reality. We have seen that the spending from the state imekuwa too high. Tumekuwa tukiona the domestic travel ambazo zimekuwa ziko pale from the National Assembly, the Senate, the county assemblies, from the other state officers. We have seen some of the arrangement ambazo zimekuwa ziko pale. So according now to the expert ambao ninaona umeangazia haya maswala, that is kwa gazeti la Standard page 8, they try now to explain on the same. So state offers are empty, that is a taxpayers are exhausted, and International Monetary Fund IMF, that is a team arriving later this month, is expected to deliver a blunt that is verdict on President William Ruto's fiscal credibility, putting to test the government's economy blueprint ahead of our next year's, that is a general election. So the budget proposal that I can see ambayo imewekwa hapa on the fiscal year, that is a 2026-2027 proposed budget of 4.7 trillion. This is a high record that we have never seen increase, that is from current year of that is by 9.9%. Projected revenue is 3.53 trillion. Budget deficit is 1.1 trillion to be financed by borrowing. So I remember that is when this regime was campaigning, they were saying that they were going out to reduce on spending and also at the same time to do with borrowing. But at the same time, we can see here each and every year kuna, that is the borrowing deficit ambao wanasema lazima waweze kuicover. So there is a revenue shortfall first of that is of fiscal year of 136.1 billion. So means that we need also now to see them coming with mechanism if there is a shortfall over that is the revenue target. Tunahitaji tuone wakikama up na mechanism ya vile ambavyo wanaanza that is improve on the revenue collection ambazo zinakuwa ziko pale, and they need also now to come up with other mechanism, because unajua na economically the business sizes zimekuwa hit by that is economically, that is na mambo mengi ambayo yamekuwa yako pale because of the taxes, pia wale the farmers wamekuwa affected na so many other things. So nakuta hii circulation of the economic activities inakuwa affected na so many other things. So they need now to come up with ways that is with the ways that they can also be able to improve on the ordinary revenues that we normally have, the licenses ambazo tuko nazo, the tax levies ambazo tuko nazo, the fuel levy, because each and every time wakati unaenda pale Kopam kuna the fuel levy ambaye unalipa. Haijalishi hata kama umekuja mafuta ya 50 bob ya 100, kuna the fuel levy ambayo lazima utaweza kulipa. So na pia that is nikiangalia hapa kuna projected on the domestic, that is a borrowing. Nikiangalia hapa pia naona kuna figure ambayo iko pale, but the GDP growth projection is 5.3, inflation project is 4.6%, private sector credit growth is 6.3%. So tumekuwa tukiona that is the government imekuwa ikijaribu kukuja na so many other plans ambazo zimekuwa pale, but tumekuwa pia the same time tukiona that is so many other companies wamekuwa kiondoka from a nation na wanaenda to other neighboring nation due now to high taxes ambazo zimekuwa pale, and also to the challenges ambazo wamekuwa kiwa faced na pia na the KRA. So it shows you that something needs to be done. Even if the CS, that is a John Buddy alitoa this report, it also shows you that they need to work hand in hand with the people. Then at the same time they also need to walk the talk, because even if they are saying that on the issues to tell us, they are going to take us to some say that tutapitia Canaan tukienda Singapore, wengine wanasema tutapitia wapi, sijui tukienda wapi. They need now to come up with different ways and to involve each and everyone. Because how do we achieve it? How do we go about it? Where are we right now? What the time period ambayo tutakuwa tuko nayo? Because unaweza sema utatupeleka hapo, but pengine inaweza chukua maybe another 40 years
kufika huko
ya kufika pale. So ni akina nani hao ambao wataweza kufika pale? So tumekuwa tukiangalia pia the government imekuwa ikijaribu come up with mechanism. Pia tuliona that is a John Buddy last time pia alikuwa amejaribu kuleta that is a tax exemption, akisema wale watu ambao wana earn less than 30,000 na watakuwa wakitolewa, that is wakitaxiwa. Kuna wale ambao watakuwa earn from this amount from this amount to this amount. So these are just some of the so many mechanisms that the government is trying to do, but at the end of the day, they need now to come up with ways of reducing their spending and coming up with ways that is they need now to improve on some of the domestic revenue that is a proportion, so that now they can be able now to balance and reduce, and so that we can be able now to reduce more on borrowing.
Yes. Yeah. And also in the Daily Nation, we're having a story in page 22, and this is something concerning energy, because we know energy is one of the most important sectors in our nation, and recently we've seen a lot of houses zimekuwa zikichomeka, and this is because of poor connectivity ya electricity. A lot of people wamekuwa wakifanya kuweka stima kutumia njia za ambazo si za halali, and this is something ambayo ime raise a lot of concern, and stated here in the Daily Nation, Meru residents to be reconnected after power clampdown. We know this is one of the counties ambayo ilikuwa imeaffectiwa sana, and with watu ambao walikuwa wameweka stima without following the due process, and hundreds of Meru residents cut off during Kenya during Kenya Power crackdown on illegal electricity connection are set to be reconnected following intervention of the Energy Secretary, Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi. And this is something that has been affecting a lot of the parts in Kenya, because many of the people wamekuwa wakitumia njia za mkato in kuweza kupata stima, and it is something that is raising a lot of concerns, because most of these fires ambazo zimekuwa zikionekana, it is because of illegal connectivity ya electricity. And as stated in the Daily Nation, we see that following the closed door meeting with Meru leaders, security officers and Kenya Power officials, the Kenya Power CS Opiyo Wandayi, Kenya Power officials, CS Opiyo Wandayi ordered the immediate restoration of transformers. The government is keen on enabling Mira farmers to irrigate their farms, which is impossible without electricity. And you've seen the Cabinet Secretary has stated in the Standard, there are many places ambazo zimetajwa hapa ya kwamba there are many places ambazo zilikuwa na shida ya stima. Many of the connectivities were disconnected because they were stated to be illegal, and this was affecting a lot of the major parts in Kenya, and mostly the northeastern areas ambazo zilikuwa huko, na pia kuna hii area ya central in the side of kuna Mount Kenya East, and many of the areas in those places kulikuwa na illegal connectivity ya stima. And CS Opiyo Wandayi aliweza kueleza ya kwamba that they are making they are trying to look at mechanism of enabling the stima ifike kwa wananchi bila a lot of struggle. And the energy principal secretary Alex Washira said affected households will benefit under the 304 million last mile connectivity program in Igembe South. Kenya Power Meru branch manager Gideon Mbiuki said the company had lost 74 transformers with over 110 million in a year. And you can imagine, if this is only Meru County, you can imagine how much we lose as a nation because of illegal connectivity. And this is something that is so it is so recommendable, because as they are restoring these zile nguvu za umeme, it is something that inasaidia the people ambao walikuwa wamejiconnectia illegally, inapunguza that risk. And as stated here in the Daily Nation, many of the areas ambazo zimeweza kuwekewa zimeweza kusemekana ya kwamba they will be reconnected, zimeweza kuandikwa hapa. And we see a lot of he added that the Maua feeder line was underperforming, drawing 6 megawatts daily but generating only 15 million instead of expected 110 million, because as a nation we lose a lot of money because of illegal connectivity, kwa sababu when that system ya stima itaweza kuharibika, we see that we lose a lot of money because of such illegal reconnectivity. Mr. Kimotho, what do you have in the standard?
Yeah, those are some of the things they need to do, because it's also very dangerous to have illegal connection, because it can also cause other damages on infrastructures and also damage on human life if anything happens. So it's something they need to do and also deal with. So on other news is that on page 6 of standard, I remember during that the regime of a former president, that Uhuru Muchai Kenyatta, we had the NMS, that is a deal between the national government and the county government of Nairobi, and there were so many complaints as to why that issues was done, because it was also during the regime of that is Mike Sonko, who was the governor for Nairobi. When it was a deal ambayo, that is we saw that some county government functions being transferred to the national government, and we saw also that is the military trying now to take over Nairobi, and we saw some of the improvements that were there. There were so many complaints that were there and so many other things, but the same thing now has come up in a different way, but it is still the same thing. Sakaja seeks help from State House in a deal similar to that is to the similar thing that was done the other time. So deal with the president, that is Ruto, will see that is a city governor give key functions to the national government. Sakaja says arrangement unlike that is the major general body ambayo alikuwa na NMS during the time of the previous government, which left that is Sonko's a shadow government, just like what happened on the other time. So a deal struck on struck on Tuesday in the corridors of State House could see Nairobi County cede some key functions to the national government. So some of these key functions, one is garbage collection, public works, road construction, and water supply. Those are some of the deals ambazo, that is some of the functions that the county government will see now, trying now to work hand in hand with the national government. So and now a question about whether the move seems a survival tactic, that is for Johnson Sakaja. During the annual county assembly address yesterday, this is where now Sakaja now tried to describe this action, trying out to give out this that is a plan. And Nairobi, that is I remember there was some of the suggestion people were saying that Nairobi should not have a governor but should have an administrator, because it is a capital city for a nation. There are so many things that revolve around that is our city. And also at the same time, we have also seen in other nations we still have like US, unakuta kuna some of that is the cities ambazo the state unakuta wako na the mayor ambayo kwa pale. Kuna zingine unakuta bado pia the sanction that is over the capital city of that nation unakuta inakuwa that is controlled by the national government, because our capital city is very sensitive, because that is where now we have so many ambassadors, that is the office ambazo ziko pale, we have the UN offices ambazo ziko pale, we have so many different things ambazo ziko pale, we have our international airport ambayo iko pale. This is a gateway where each and every visitor akikuja, the first city ambayo anaapia pale ni Nairobi. So it is a very sensitive, that is a county that need now to be addressed. And whenever now you see a governor anajaribu now to work hand in hand with other partnership key areas, that is with the national government, shows you that maybe there is that boost that he really needs now for the improve of his county. But at the same time, remember that this year tuko in election year, so lazima iko kuna ile karata yake ambayo anacheza. Na ukiangalia, these are some of the things ambazo zime affect the people of Nairobi. The issue of garbage, the issue of garbage is still an issue ambayo ina affect the people of Nairobi. Then the issue of public works, ukiangalia kuna zile even city roads ambazo ziko pale, the estate roads ambazo ziko pale, some of the major roads ambazo ziko pale. So it becomes also a question and also another issue ambayo pia ina affect watu wengi. Na pia the same time water supply, kiangalia pia mambo ya maji ni kitu ambayo ina affect sana wakazi wa Nairobi. So these are some of the key areas ambayo maybe ame seek support to the national government, so that now the national government can come hand in hand and be able now to help him. Also remember is that Governor Sakaja aliponea kwa sababu kulikuwa na impeachment plan ambayo ilikuwa ifanyike last year, that is September. Kuna hii motion ambayo ilikuwa imepelekwa pale to the County Assembly of Nairobi. Na hii impeachment, we saw him that is now trying to reach, that is the former prime minister, the late, that is Raila Odinga, that who also had now to call all that is the ODM MCAs. And we also saw Sakaja trying to seek help also from President Ruto, ambayo tuliona pia na yeye akiweza kuita now the UDA that is a members of the county assembly, na wakaweza kujadiliana hii issue na ikaweza kukua that is a settled. Could it be that maybe kuna hearsay, pengine alisikia impeachment, we don't know, maybe ama kuna masuala fulani ambayo tulisikia that is yakiweza kufanyika pale, we don't know. But all in all, he has his own reason as to why now he has decided now to transfer some of the county functions to the national that is government, so that now he can be able now to seek maybe assistance, maybe now from the national government. But this is some of the things that we saw people criticizing the move that was there previously, but at the same time it shows you that something needs to be done. So I think now the Senate and also the National Assembly, they need now to come up and sit down and see how they can come up with ways of where now the national government can take control over some of the key functions from that is our capital city, so that some of these things inakuwa well adjusted. Just like what I've said is that our capital city, it holds even a lot of dignitaries ambao wanakuja pale, that is a lot of investors ambao wanakuja pale. Also at the same time, hata ukitembea pale unakuta even the structures ambazo ziko pale ziko so modernized, kwa sababu ya that is ili kuweza kuleta urembo fulani into our capital city. So something needs to be done, and also now due now to this direction, we are really hoping that also now the Senate and also the National Assembly will come up with ways that they can do it.
And also in the standard tunapoendelea kumaliza, it is there is a very interesting story about when you want to start your construction, huwa unafanyaje. And this is a very interesting story here in the Daily Nation, that never ignore these experts when building your houses. The Daily Nation has stated some of the experts ambao inafaa, you don't need to ignore them, because many of us, we always say that we want to build efficiently but at a lower cost, but you know, cheap is expensive, because ukiangalia katika gazeti hili wamesema that many people believe building is only it only needs an architect and a contractor, and also kuna misconception continues to expose public to unnecessary danger. And this is something that has been happening in our nation, because many of the buildings ambazo zimekuwa zikisink, we see that haijakuwa ni we always say that it is cost saving when we are doing some substandard things. But as stated in the Daily Nation, we see in this story that has been written in page 24 of the Daily Nation, kuna story ambayo imesema some of the experts ambao inafaa you look for them even before starting your construction. Kuna wale ambao wame specialize in soil investigation, they need to know that hiyo mchanga ambayo iko mahali pale, can it sustain the building that you want to build. And also we see that kuna wale engineers ambao watakusaidia in setting up some of the structures ambazo itakusaidia to have a good foundation for your house. And there is also the myth of saving money when you're buying substandard things, and the Daily Nation has stated a lot of things even when building the structures. Kuna wale watu ambao wana building, they build a house and they don't have even, their houses don't have ventilation, and we see a lot of things that have been stated here. She adds the leader ambaye ako hapa amesema ya kwamba that poorly coordinated services often lead to dangerous practices such as cutting or drilling structural members to pass ducts and pipes. And we've seen a lot of some of the buildings ambazo zimekuwa zikianguka in our nation, many of them zimekuwa, it is because of the structures, and this is something that it may raise a lot of concerns that we need to also be very vigilant na tuweze kupea the experts. And thank you so much for joining us in this segment ya uchambuzi wa magazeti, and this program is proudly brought to you by Mizpah Prayer Center. It is a very great place for prayer, fasting and spiritual renewal, and this is a place ambayo unaweza kuja as a family, and also mkiwa kama group mnaweza kuja. And we Mizpah Prayer Center invites you for Keepers of the Flame Prayer Summit on 25th and 27th of this month 2026, and this is a service ambayo you don't need to miss. And thank you for all that have been joining us through our through all our social media platforms at Mizpah TV Kenya, and thank you for those who have sent us their feedback on our number on 0799 200 100. And until next time, God bless you.